Take a deep breath. Because what you're about to hear isn't just a story, it's a mirror. A mirror for every person who has ever fallen, felt broken, or believed, even for a moment, that life had taken more than it ever gave back. It begins in a small town outside Sacramento with a man named Ethan Cole, a guy you've probably met 100 times in different faces. Someone who works hard, keeps his head down, pays his bills, dreams in silence, and hopes that one day life will finally give him a break. But life didn't, not yet. You see, Ethan wasn't born strong. He wasn't born confident. He wasn't born lucky. He was born with a father who disappeared when he was 6, a mother who worked double shifts at a diner, and a belief deep inside that the world wasn't built for people like him. Every day before school, Ethan would sit on the front steps of their small apartment complex and watch other kids rush into SUVs, laughing, backpacks full of new supplies, shoes that still had the laces white. But Ethan, he had a hand-me-down bag, shoes a size too big, and the quiet realization that he would always have to work harder than everyone else just to stay in the same place. Still, he carried on. He grew up, went to community college, worked at the local hardware store, paid his rent on time, and kept living what he believed was an ordinary life, even though deep inside something kept whispering, "You're meant for more." But he ignored that voice, because the world teaches you to quiet the very thing that could save you. Then life changed. Not all at once, not dramatically, just one small moment, a moment people usually overlook. It was a Tuesday, normal day, normal shift. Ethan was restocking aisles when an elderly man approached him, struggling to carry a large box of wooden planks. Ethan rushed over and helped him place it on a cart. The old man smiled, one of those warm, gentle smiles that feel like sunlight after a long winter. And he said something Ethan never forgot. "You walk like a man carrying weight he doesn't deserve. Son, put it down. Life isn't punishing you. You're punishing yourself." Ethan froze, because nobody had ever spoken to him like that. Nobody had ever seen him like that, and the man just walked away, leaving Ethan standing there, heart pounding, wondering why a stranger's words hit him harder than anything anyone had said before. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He kept hearing it, "Put it down, put it down, put it down." He thought, put what down? His past? His fears? His belief that he wasn't enough? The next morning, something inside him shifted, barely, quietly, but enough to create a crack in the walls he had spent years building. He woke up earlier than usual, made a cup of coffee, sat by the window, and asked himself a question he had never dared to ask. What do I really want? Not what he should want, not what was realistic, not what was practical, but what he was starving for, deep down beneath the layers of doubt and survival. The answer didn't come easy, it didn't come fast, but it came. He wanted to build something of his own, a small woodworking shop. He wanted to create things with his hands. Furniture, decor, art pieces, things that lasted, things that mattered, things that carried a story. But instantly the fear came rushing in. You don't have the money. You don't have the tools. You don't have the skills. You'll fail. You'll lose everything. What will people say? Fear. Fear, fear, fear took that dream and strangled it until the voice inside him went silent again. Weeks passed, nothing changed. Life returned to the same rhythm, wake up, work, eat, sleep, until the day everything fell apart. The hardware store suddenly downsized. Ethan was called into the back office, and with a tense sigh, the manager said the words, "Every American fears more than they admit. We have to let you go." In seconds, Ethan's world collapsed. No job, no backup plan, bills due in 10 days, rent due in 2 weeks, savings barely enough to survive a month. He sat in his car for an hour, gripping the steering wheel, fighting the urge to scream, cry, and drive away from a life that felt like it kept betraying him. But there's a moment every hero, every fighter, every comeback story encounters, where your life hits rock bottom and you're presented with a choice, break, or rebuild. Ethan chose neither. He chose to rise, not with confidence, not with certainty, not with motivation speeches or some viral quote on Instagram. He rose slowly, painfully, terrified, but willing, and that was enough. He went home, opened an old drawer, and pulled out a notebook he hadn't touched in years, the one where he used to sketch furniture designs during his night shifts. He flipped through the pages, each drawing reminding him of a version of himself he had buried long ago. Then he whispered, voice shaking, maybe I can try. And that was the moment his life restarted. The next day, he listed a small handcrafted shelf on an online marketplace, carved using nothing but cheap tools, patience, and a broken man's hope that anyone, might believe in what he created. He expected nothing, but that same night, 11:42 p.m., a notification popped up. Item sold, $65, not a fortune, not enough to solve his problems, but enough to change his destiny. Because for the first time in his life, someone paid him for something he created. The next week, he sold another piece, then 2 more, then 5. He worked until 2 a.m. every night, covered in sawdust, sweat, and adrenaline, because now he had something no paycheck had ever given him, purpose. People began leaving reviews. Beautiful craftsmanship, exactly what I wanted. You can feel the love in this piece. Love in something he made. Slowly, his mind began to heal. Slowly, he began to believe again. Slowly, he realized he wasn't broken. He was becoming. Months passed. Orders increased. His tiny living room workshop turned into a garage workshop. His garage workshop turned into a rented workspace. And that workspace eventually turned into something he never imagined. Cole Custom Woodworks, a small business with customers all over the US, including celebrities, boutique hotels, and interior designers who admired the soul in his work. But the most powerful moment wasn't when he hit $10,000 a month, or when he hired his first employee, or when a magazine featured him as the American Maker of the Year. It was the day he saw the old man again. Same warm smile, same slow walk, same gentle eyes. Ethan rushed to him, embraced him, and whispered, "Your words changed my life." The old man laughed softly and replied, "No, son, you changed your life. I just reminded you that you could." And that was the truth. Nobody saves you, nobody rescues you, nobody hands you the life you dream of. You build it piece by piece, step by step, day by day. And often, the world won't believe in you at first. Your friends might not, your family might not, even you might not. But belief isn't something you wait for. It's something you create. Ethan's story became a message for every person who wakes up every morning feeling behind, feeling unnoticed, feeling like their life is nothing but bills, stress, and silent dreams that nobody knows about. His message: you're allowed to start over. You're allowed to want more. You're allowed to reinvent yourself completely, and you're allowed to rise, even if nobody claps for you. Today, Ethan speaks at community events, schools, and small business workshops. Not to brag, not to inspire in a cliche way, but to tell the truth. Your future doesn't care about your past. It cares about your decisions. So if you're listening to this right now and you feel tired, lost, broken, or stuck in a life that feels too small for the size of your soul, hear this. You are allowed to want a bigger life. You are allowed to dream again. You are allowed to start from zero. You are allowed to fail. You are allowed to rebuild. You are allowed to rewrite your story. The people who succeed in this world aren't the strongest, aren't the smartest, aren't the most talented. They're the ones who refuse to quit. Just like Ethan, and just like you can. Your breakthrough isn't waiting for the perfect moment, it's waiting for the courageous moment. The moment you decide, I'm not living like this anymore, I'm becoming who I was meant to be. So look at your life right now. Look at the pain, look at the dreams you buried, look at the fire still burning quietly inside you, and choose. Choose to rise, choose to fight, choose to rebuild, choose to believe. Not because it's easy, but because your life is worth it. This story isn't about Ethan. It's about every person who has ever feared they were too late, too broken, too behind, or too ordinary to live an extraordinary life. You're not too late. You're not too broken. You're not too behind. And you are definitely not ordinary. You are becoming. And your real story hasn't even started yet.